Small business is about courage, risk-taking, independence, and we small business owners are survivors. Everybody has an idea for a business, but how do you take that idea from mind to market? This is the place to learn.
Small Business School with Hattie Bryant.
It's a new kind of school. Together we'll learn about business from the inside out, from the people who've done it. We'll meet the men and women who are today's pioneers and quiet heroes. Their lives are the textbooks. Our classroom is the world. Hi, I'm Hattie Bryant. Silicon Valley has produced more wealth through innovation than any other piece of real estate in the world. Rather than taking jobs in big companies, college graduates in Silicon Valley are finding ways to bring their own ideas to the marketplace. Today, we take you to the Enterprise Network. It's a place that fosters, encourages, nurtures, and rolls entrepreneurs out to face the real world with real solutions. All of them are focused on technology because that's what Silicon Valley does best. Step into the masterclass with some of our youngest veterans.
You're about to start the Extempo web tour, you lucky dog.
I can talk to him in natural language. And who are you?
I'm Lex, buddy, your tour guide. I'm here to show you around.
Max himself is a character who's available to work on other websites. It's very easy to author him and tell him what he needs to know in order to give a tour on another website.
Here's our first stop.
Incubating companies find inexpensive office space, T1 lines, mentors, and money when they join 10, the Enterprise Network. And 10 is located here, where hundreds of highly successful businesses spring to life. Silicon Valley, south of San Francisco. If ideas gave off heat, this place would be on fire.
Is this a prospect?
This was actually a business plan.
This is your corporate business plan?
This is the corporate business
I
plan.
love this corporate business plan.
So, and timeline is there.
This building doesn't look like much on the outside, but inside, dozens of high-tech companies have taken their first steps towards success.
Why are you carrying the sign through the building?
Oh, actually, we are just coming back from San Francisco from a trade show, Java 1 trade show. And we had, this is our first trade show. We released our product on Tuesday, this Tuesday, and we got tremendous leads, tremendous amount of leads.
Everywhere in the incubator, you could see the future being invented. Art Gaffin shows us his iBot.
And it's actually learning what this product looks like right now.
Right.
And after it's learned it, then we can hit the inspect button, and now it's ready to inspect for defects. So we can find a defective bottle, one that has a blemish on it of some sort, and there is a small blemish on this one. It's hard to see, but it is on there. And the unit will spot that and eject it off the table.
Wow.
Robert Bleckman and Fred Clark are bringing the internet to your home without a computer.
60% of households don't have PCs, and yet lots of people would love to have access to the internet. So this device actually solves that problem.
We're creating content for these devices. You have the manufacturers of these devices, you have operating systems for these devices. Well, we're the guys who are going to bring you personalized content.
We make software for converting physical objects to digital models to be used in industrial design and animation applications.
Brian Kissel and his partner, Venkat Krishnamurthy, started at the Enterprise Network and will soon be ready to leave the nest. Brian and Venkat are licensing their technology from nearby Stanford University, where we went to the computer graphics lab.
So Hattie, here's an example of the kind of object we can scan into the computer, which would be really difficult to model if you didn't have technology like ours. So you shoot a stripe of laser light on it, and then you image that laser light onto a couple of CCD cameras, which gives you a silhouette of depth. What we can do here is show you how the scanner works to capture the data, and then what our software does to post-process the scanning. I'm going to show you one single scan on the screen. As the object translates in front of that sheet of laser light, successive silhouettes of depth are captured. So that, if you will, is one 3D photograph from one direction. So what our software does is allows you to take multiple photographs, put it all together to make a nice complete object.
And that's where our software comes in, is the ability to merge together these multiple images into one very high resolution complete model. And then the second step of what we do is to take that one model and parameterize it so that it's more usable in a dynamic way.
You can use that image, the one that you
Right.
put together,
Right.
and modify it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. It's all mathematical calculation.
That's the big breakthrough.
So the 3D software helps us see what the Energizer Bunny looks like all the way around.
Exactly. The technology has been in development for quite some time, several years, but the notion of creating a business around the technology is relatively new. I had really wanted to start my own company and actually wanted to try to license something out of Stanford University.
All right, how do you do that? I mean, how do you create a business around technology?
Well, for us it was trying to figure out how big the market opportunity was and really whether this technology could be the basis for a business. So that required, doing market research, determining what the technology could do, who the potential customers were, what they'd pay for it, how big the market was, how much it was going to cost us to develop the capabilities to serve those customers, what kind of investment we would need, what kind of return it would provide for the investor. So there was a fair amount of research, a good 6 months of work that we did, going to trade shows, doing literature searches, talking to professionals in the industry, talking to potential customers, to try to really understand what the opportunity was and how the technology that we had and the competencies that we had could be relevant for those opportunities.
And we have a group of about 350 advisors that are on a real
Dan Mirich helped form the Enterprise Network.
database that will come in and help these companies and advise these companies.
Do you think every company needs a board of directors?
Yes. Get one with credibility, and then also see the people that are directors have got skin in the game, that they've invested in the company, and that's important. You want to have them invest in the company and buy stock.
And that motivates them.
That motivates them, and then also you can go to other people, and I'm going to be helping them raise additional money, and I can go to other people and say, so-and-so invested money, or they say, who's invested the money? The hardest part of any company is to get the first $250,000, $350,000. Once you get that, it gets a little easier. It's never easy, but it gets a little easier, because then you've already got people that have made a commitment, because everybody wants to play 5 or 7 card stud and not put up any money. In this way, say, if you got to turn those cards over, we're playing draw, you got to put your money in now.
Right.
I'd say we probably ended up talking to 6 or 8 different investment groups, and of those, there were some that didn't think it was a good idea, didn't think it was big enough. One of the things that you're seeing now is with a lot of investors, because the funds have been so successful, the amount of money that they have and the amount of money they need to invest kind of predetermines the size of the opportunity that they can invest in.
So if you only want 10 million and they want to invest 30, you're not the right idea.
Exactly. And what we found to be important was finding investors who had already bought off on the notion that 3D digital imaging was going to be an important area going forward, and had already made investment decisions in that area, had made investments in other companies that were pursuing similar opportunities.
So a piece of advice you would give someone looking for capital is to go to someone who's already familiar with that industry.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you don't have to educate them on the industry.
Exactly.
How are you making a living?
Right now, we're living off the investment, as is true of most.
The first
venture
round of capital that you've raised?
Exactly.
Okay, that's because what I want people to try to understand is you don't just in a month or two get venture capital.
No, it took us a good 6 months, and I think we're probably about average, at least for the Bay Area here in San Francisco. It generally takes between 3 months and 12 months, assuming you have a viable business.
Okay, so you got your first round.
Correct.
But you're still in the incubator.
We are still in the incubator.
Okay, so what happens next? What's the next plan or step?
So the next step for us is to staff up to kind of a core group of people that's big enough to really get us through the milestones that we've laid out for ourselves and for our investor group, and have a working prototype of our software and have it being used by some customers.
Okay, that doesn't exist yet. There's not a working prototype
There
yet.
is, there is,
Okay.
but a commercial version of the software that we
Okay.
can distribute more widely to a number of customers.
But those would still be beta sites?
Those
or?
would be beta sites.
Okay, then once you get all the kinks worked out,
Correct.
then you roll it out to everyone.
We roll it out, and that's where we will probably go back to the investment community and ask for our next round of investment.
Okay.
The investment, the pitch that we made to the investors was, there's a range of investment you can make that will get us to various stages in our business development.
Well, one of the strategies that we have is that we're focusing on trying to get more activity with the corporate world.
Joe Bodecker is president and CEO of 10.
You have to have a differentiating product. You have to have a market. You know, it doesn't do any good if you can win a Nobel Prize maybe, but without a market, you're not going to have a business. You have to have the drive of the entrepreneur, and that's the biggest variable. And in our case, what we look for is somebody that's coachable. The venture capitalist community, they'll look for somebody that's a management team. But our role is, are they coachable? And the fourth thing we look for is it somebody we can help? If somebody comes to us, and that's why I don't like the word incubator, because if somebody comes to us and says, I have a hot technology, make it into a business, they're going to fail. They have to come to us and say, I believe I can make this happen. I know it's good, and I'm going to do everything. I'll bust down walls to make this thing happen. Then we've got a real exciting opportunity, and now we're just facilitators to help that entrepreneur become successful.
I call this Entrepreneurs Anonymous because when you're starting a business, the problems are not just technical in nature or business in nature. They're also personal and emotional, and there needs to be a support structure for that. And so that's
Joe Becker is part of the Enterprise Network leadership team.
There are always people coming through the incubator here that could make that magical, what I call serendipity connection for somebody. Opens a door that they never would have expected just by meeting this particular individual. And you never know when that's going to occur, but by being sort of at the hub of activity for new enterprise development here in the incubator, that kind of thing is perhaps going to happen for that entrepreneur.
So is the incubator a good place for people to be at this point?
Absolutely, absolutely. But by providing the infrastructure and some of the guidance, I know Joe Bodecker talks about tough love and kind of instilling some discipline in the organization. It allows us to focus on really what we should be focusing on, which is defining what our product should be and building our team and creating our product, as opposed to worrying about the infrastructure.
When you got your first round of funding, did everybody in the incubator come running in and say, "Wow, how'd you do it? You know, what are your secrets?"
Yeah, not running in, but we do celebrate that. And so I think over time we all try to share with each other, lessons learned. And so we definitely benefited by predecessors who've come through the incubator before us, and so we certainly want to be able to do the same for other companies.
The success of a venture is a function of the entrepreneur having that burning belief that I can make this happen. And we don't want to get in the way of that. What we want to do is facilitate it.
So we expect that the entire design process is going to change as this technology catches on.
If you're starting a business from scratch, you need help. It doesn't matter if you're 16 or 65. You need access to cheap office space, a computer, phone and fax lines, the internet, and most important, smart people who have already been where you want to go. If you're trying to grow the business you already have, you should form a board of advisors. We've talked about this before, but we're reminded how powerful a board can be. At smallbusinessschool.org, in the study guide for this program, you'll find 7 other important lessons. Bill Wiedemann is a fresh success story for the Enterprise Network.
We make hardware and software solutions that allow corporations to use the internet for secure business communications. We brought in $1.3 million in our first round of funding, which was just about 2 years ago now. And to date, we've taken in $18 million. So it's kind of amazing when you think about it.
You get some good help here?
Yeah, great help. Yeah, it's really necessary because unless you've done it before, it's brand new.
All right, now, how does one get your attention?
Vince Occupente is a general partner with Woodside Fund, a venture capital firm specializing in startup and early stage companies.
Good idea.
Normally, you have a business plan, and that business plan gets the attention of the venture capitalist with an appropriate introduction, and then you get, and your goal is to simply get a meeting. That's the primary purpose of sending them the information. You have to understand that a venture capitalist will see, for example, our fund, 600 to 1,000 business plans a year. We will invest in less than 1% of the deals we see. So there is a huge filter from all of the deals you see to those areas that can justify combination of all of our investment criteria, which justifies a meeting, and then ultimately those companies that gain financing.
We meet a lot of people with a lot of wonderful ideas.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean anybody wants to buy that.
That's perfect. Let me tell you what our investment criteria are. The most important thing is just what you said, is market. We like companies that address large demand-driven markets. And there is a difference between actual need and perceived need.
Right.
The second thing is management. And there has to be a willingness to either have a premier management team or the willingness to build it. The third item is barrier to entry. Do you have a technology or something that is unique, that differentiates you? Because you're going to have to compete with large corporations, so you've got to have something special. And that's why venture capitalists, particularly here in Silicon Valley, gravitate toward high technology, something that's unique, something that's interesting, something that is mostly patentable, or some other advantage. So that's what we call barrier to entry. The fourth element is whether they want to work as a partnership. And venture capitalists that want to give money and want to help are not going to be interested in being just a passive investor. The next item is what we call exit. And exit is how you get liquidity.
Right.
And there are two vehicles for that. One is an IPO, and the second could be a merger and acquisition.
From the start, we told the venture capitalists that this is going to be such a huge opportunity that we need to bring in people that have done it before, credible people from the industry that can make this grow with a large velocity.
So what you're saying is, just when you get to you've got the product, you've got the funding, you've got these people, you're willing to step aside and let somebody else run the company?
Oh, that's the way we designed it from the start, because we can grow then and take advantage of the opportunity that we've set up. It's been set up, we've got the product out in the market, we have some acceptance in the marketplace, and now it's time to bring in the people that have taken it from this stage before and can really capitalize on it and make it a very, very large opportunity.
What are you going to do with your time and your life and all your money?
Well, it's not money yet. We have to get to a liquidation event, as I'm sure the investors hope. And at that point, then there's certainly many other things you can do. But right now, I'm coming back to the incubator and spending time here and helping other people with, through my experience, the same as the people who were here when I came through, helped me.
So
and helping them be successful.
You think you'll do it again? You'll find another opportunity?
There's always opportunities.
Are you hooked?
Absolutely.
It's like, you got to do it again.
Yeah, it's just kind of something that you get started on it, you just want to do it over and over again, and you run across opportunities, and you use your experience from this situation to filter out things and take them out.
Is there a name for a guy like you? I mean, it's a startup wonderkind or something?
Not yet. When I have 3 or 4 of these under my belt, then I guess you could say that. But right now, it's just one of my friends called me when we got our first funding, and he said, "Congratulations, you're in the 1% club," because the amount of deals that get funded is about 1%. So I made it into the 1% club, and now what I need to do is make it into the 1/4% club or the 0.5% club that move on and get a successful liquidation and go on to some other things. So,
why are you doing this instead of something else, like a job or something?
I think you get to the point in your career that you say that you want to do something for yourself and you want to make a difference, and it's incredible satisfaction to get other people excited about what you're doing, about your dream, and to see companies make commitments to your product and start buying it and start using it because it brings them value, and it's incredible gratification, and people that work for, we have 65 employees now, people that come and work for you, they just say, "Gee, thanks for this opportunity," and you can't get that anywhere else. So
they are now starting to grow exponentially up the sales ramp. They have customers, they have product. They're fully invested in now. I don't know how many employees they have, but I'm guessing it's over 50 at this point. And they are exhibiting the classic signs of what we call a gazelle. A gazelle is a very high growth company that tends to double its sales every year.
Basically proposed to him the creation of a virtual amusement park.
Why do technology startups have such success in Silicon Valley? Angel investors Hans Severance and Fred Hoare explain.
That this template, this model, we've been the seedbed here of the microelectronics revolution, and it's largely been due to the availability of capital. And what's happening today is the most exciting scenario probably in the history of the world. And I won't go on and on, other than to say that one of our executives out here, and Hans has heard this story, said that when he was in college, he used to dream, he'd have a reverie about what would it be like to be in the years of the Athenian democracy or the Italian Renaissance. And then he thought, living today, the progress in human achievement is greater by 10 than those two civilizations combined. So we are living in a period at this end of the 20th century that's never been duplicated before. To be engaged with that as an investor, as a watcher. Somebody said they wanted to come from one of the local newspapers to see our band of angels because they wanted to sense what he called the zeitgeist, which is the spirit of the time. And he said he thinks he could get it with this group of 100 people and the people coming before us to get funding with their ideas, whether it's a new liquid crystal thing for cars, whether it's a new automotive anti-collision thing, whether it's security, whatever. Because he said, you're concentrating all of that. Well, we're lucky to live where we are, but that's Silicon Valley. But there are things happening in Miami and other areas. Everywhere. There are certainly things happening in the Midwest, et al. So there's no monopoly on innovation here. What there is a tremendous amount of energy here. Basically, I can say that this area is the site of the greatest legal creation of wealth in history. But at the same time, it's also the site, perhaps, of the greatest number of foul balls or of dry holes. And that's okay, because failure is not a stigma in Silicon Valley at all. As a matter of fact, they say you're really not seasoned until you've had a couple of those under your belt. Wouldn't you say?
Well, failure here is not necessarily held against you. In fact, some people consider it an asset because now you've learned how not to do it. We have a belief here in this country, and particularly in California, which I think has to do maybe with the frontier mentality, about, hey, if you work hard enough of it, a bunch of people are going to die, but you're going to make it. You're going to get to that gold mine. You're going to get to the coast. You're going to get these wonderful things. And therefore, people are much more willing to accept risk. They know how to, and manage risk.
How do you keep yourself hyped up, energetic, enthusiastic?
I think part of it's the energy among the founders and the employees of the company, because we all have pretty complementary skills, and we see that together we can do more than any of us could individually, and that's kind of exciting. I think the other thing is we have some really good customer contacts already, so we have people using our product and giving us really encouraging feedback.
First off, there's just some raw human intelligence, some smart, what I call smarts, that are there, and that pretty much has to exist there. But he also seemed to have the ability, organizational ability, the ability to articulate what it is he's trying to do, and to sell that concept. He had me excited, and that's where you have to start. I believe they're going to be successful. They have a good idea. They have taken a serious look at the business dynamics. They realize they are in a competitive space where they can provide a unique solution to a customer, and they're proceeding forward with trying to offer that solution.
Keeps you young, huh?
Oh, well, you stay around young people, you can stay young. And of course, entrepreneurs, they keep you hopping.
Yeah, good.
What do all of these men and women have in common? The entrepreneurial spirit, faith in their ideas, hope that they can make the world a better place. And oh, by the way, they'll create wealth and work on the path to their dreams. Remember, there are lots of people who can help you start and grow your business. You don't have to do it alone. There are business incubators in every city in America. There are small business development centers in over 1,500 locations, and there are seasoned business owners everywhere who will mentor you. At smallbusinessschool.org, you'll find streaming video, transcripts, and study guides, as well as links to many resources. We'll see you next time.
Small Business School with Hattie Bryant.
If you want to learn more about starting, running, and growing a business, come to our website, smallbusinessschool.org. There's streaming video and interactive study guides. The only way we can compete with big business is to be faster, smarter, and better. We are the engine of the American economy. We create the jobs. Small business is about big commitment. It's about sacrifice and struggle. But we do it because we say, if I don't do this, my life won't be complete.